Good morning out there. So good to hear your voice and to see your beautiful faces out there in my imagination. But let me tell you something. Did you know that, like, a simple walk outside and some deep breaths really can actually help you kind of transform the way your body processes sugar? I know it sounds simple, but the science really backs it up. And we're going to talk about how this oxygen and, like, the sun and, like, this mitochondria inside of your body, how they all work together to make these little tiny furnaces that actually fuel your body and gives you the energy that your body needs to, like, go out there and face the world with a dazzling smile. We are very happy to be here. I am Dr. Helen. I am your fearless leader in this accelerated healing detox boot camp where we are on day 37. I know you can't believe it, and neither can I. That means we only have only 3 more days together like this. And what do you do? Yes, see, my partner's excited. But listen, this is really an incredibly exciting time for us because we have been seeing such amazing responses to the tools that we've taught so far. And I am very happy to be a part of your journey as you continue to work towards becoming undiabetic. It is absolutely spectacular. So this information is used for informational purposes. It's really educational purposes because this program is so incredibly powerful at reversing or lowering your blood sugars and lowering your blood pressures. So you want to make sure that your provider is on board, because if medications need to be adjusted, changed, or discontinued, they are the ones to do that, because here we use food as medicine. And because we use food as medicine, we are seeing some absolutely spectacular responses. And so I don't know where you are, but this is 37, day 37 for us. And I don't know if this is your first day. If it is, welcome. If it's your second day, welcome back. And if it's your 37th day, look at you, because you're still here working and moving on and going towards your goal. And we are totally excited about that as we go on our quest to stop diabetes in its track. That is what we're here for. So let me tell you what we're going to learn today. So these are the things that we're going to really focus on. We're going to learn about the connection between vitamin D, insulin resistance, and inflammation, as well as immunity. We're also going to learn how oxygen impacts metabolism and how it uses your glucose. The other thing that we're going to learn today together is practical ways to improve both through sunlight, breathing, and supplementation. And then we're going to tell you, like, what is the action that you will take to make this happen for you. So let's dive right in there as we start to talk about why this whole thing matters for diabetes and metabolic health. Now, what we have here, we have like a depiction of beta cells. On the left side, we have like some beta cells that are out of control. And then on the right side, we have a depiction of a normal beta cell. So people with low vitamin D levels have a higher risk of insulin resistance. Let's let's say that again. When your vitamin D levels are lower, you have a higher risk of having insulin resistance. Why? Because it causes a mitochondrial dysfunction that can actually lead to fatigue and poor blood sugar control, inflammation. It's just like a mess. And oxygen is essential for metabolism, because without the oxygen, then the cells kind of struggle to process the glucose properly. And so you might start to have some problems with your beta cells not looking so healthy and being like overcome by all different kinds of things because they're on their way to, like, falling asleep. And we don't want that, do we? No. And so insulin sensitivity actually helps the cells respond better to insulin. So you have like this vitamin D, and this vitamin D is very powerful for your body. It impacts so many different things, right? And so that will cause inflammation to be reduced. It's really like really fabulous at lowering like this chronic inflammation that has been linked to diabetes. But in addition to that, it also helps with your immune function. So it reduces the risk of infections, right? And it supports your healing. Like, it supports your healing. This vitamin D is so amazing. Well, let's talk about how oxygen plays a part in it. So, every cell in your body needs oxygen, and the oxygen is used to convert energy into glucose. And that glucose is used in something called the Krebs cycle so that it can actually promote energy. So glucose will go in through several different processes and will really need the oxygen to help it to go through these processes so that it can actually convert itself into energy. Well, not itself, but it gets converted through energy. And here's how it does it, right? There's a single mitochondria, right? Like, they're mitochondria inside the cells. Like, every these cells in your body, they have mitochondria. And as you know, mitochondria are what? The powerhouse of the cell. So it produces a relatively small amount of energy for each one of those little cells inside, but together they can produce a lot of energy. And so it's like it's measured in the form of these little packets. Like, I like to look at them as little packets called ATP molecules, adenosine triphosphate. These are little energy pockets that is estimated typically to be around 30 molecules of these energy packets per one glucose molecule that's oxidized. So that's why you say, wow, I feel like I got so much energy. Like, when you eat something sweet, you'll get like this really significant burst of energy. That's because it's producing like 30 molecules of ATP, and it just keeps it going so that you are very energetic. The problem occurs is when that sugar is not accompanied by, or not in the form of, a complex carbohydrate. You'll get that sugar shoot up real fast, but there is nothing that makes it steady. It just shoots all of the ATP up all at one time. And then when all that ATP is used up, then you just drop, like you just fall, like your energy is like completely gone after that. When you use it in a complex form, when it's complexed with fiber, you'll get a steady increase in the ATP molecules. And so it doesn't just go up real fast and drop real fast. And so that is the important part of that. And so this glucose is going through and being oxidized through this whole process in the mitochondria called oxidative phosphorylation. And this single cell can contain hundreds of thousands of mitochondria in like one cell. Like you have lots of cells in your body. So each one of those cells has mitochondria, lots of them in there, and they are responsible for the overall energy production for the cell. Now, what is that energy used for? Well, that energy is used to conduct all the processes that need to happen in the cell to help to promote metabolism in your body, but it also is the kind of energy that you can feel, so that when you don't have this energy, you are just fatigued and tired and just like bleh. But what happens when this is kind of look like what happens when your oxygen levels are low? So you don't metabolize very well, you're very tired, and your blood sugars tend to increase. So according to research, right, when these things are happening, when this poor metabolism is going on, and you start to see like maybe some excess poundage coming on, you might, like, because the glucose is not being taken in and going through the process of oxidative phosphorylation in the mitochondria, it's not being taken in, so you don't get the energy, and so you're just kind of fatigued and you're just out. But what's happening is that the sugar levels are also getting higher. So it starts to increase your blood sugar level, so that you start having more issues with that. Remember that inflammation inside of the blood vessels, scraping the walls of the blood vessels and setting up a situation where it's chronic inflammation inside the blood vessels that tends to close it up, so circulation gets compromised. So this single mitochondria produces this energy, and and with the use of oxygen, which the two together really get to make this profound amount of energy. So that's why we're talking about make sure you are breathing properly, because we want to produce the energy of the cell. So you can just get like these little packets of energy, and when what you feel, it's like it's the energy that you can feel. It makes you feel good all over. It's like your blood is circulating properly, your brain cells are thinking clearly, your heart is pumping well, all of your organs are satisfied, everybody's excited inside of you, and so you feel excited on the outside of you. Now, this mitochondrion will take in the oxygen, but it also takes in nutrients, right? We have been talking about all of these different nutrients that we've been adding into the body over these last 37 days because we are trying to help with so many different things. But one of the things that we're trying to improve is the mitochondria that comes in into your cellular powerhouses that combines with the oxygen to get in to that mitochondria. Remember that mitochondria that has all of these energy packets. So we see like that is the cell, and the little red things inside of those are all mitochondria. And each one of them are just producing energy. They're producing energy. And so if you have just a little bit, you have a little bit of energy. If you have a little bit of nutrition, you have a little bit of energy. Say you got 4 packets or 3 packets of energy. But when you have a lot of oxygen and you have a lot of nutrients with it, and you have them going into the mitochondria with the glucose, then you get lots of energy. And that's when you're like, hey, I'm so excited. I got all this energy and I'm all excited and I can do all kinds of things. That is what makes you feel good. When there is not enough oxygen, or when there's not enough of the body, a intake of nutrients, a low intake of oxygen, then the mitochondria is going to struggle to make energy. So you get very little energy and things start to slow down. So in diabetes, the mitochondria function starts to slow down. These little powerhouses inside of those that are actually fuels, like it's like it turns on and can actually cause you to burn fat even. It's actually changing how these things work. And so you end up losing the energy. You lose so much of that, and it causes you to have more fatigue, you lose the power, and there's more insulin resistance. So when you improve vitamin D and the oxygen intake, you get stronger mitochondria. So you don't have to feel like you can't conjure up any energy, because you're getting both. You're getting what you need. You're getting the oxygen. But let's also talk about vitamin D inside of here as we try to talk about how to get more energy. Vitamin D allows these processes to work, and it actually makes your mitochondria stronger, so that you can actually use that with the oxygen that you have and the glucose that you have, so that you wake up in the morning feeling energized, right? You don't feel like, oh, I'm just dragging, I can't move, I'm so tired. That is something that we want to like avoid. So you want to feel like you have a lot of energy. And so the sunlight is connected. So I'm going to show you how to optimize the vitamin D naturally, right? So here's one of the things that we've talked about before, and I can't emphasize it enough, is to get about 20 minutes of sun exposure on your bare skin. Bare skin, no sunblock, just your bare skin. Okay, I guess you can have lotion on. That's okay, right? So you can have moisture in your skin, but not, you don't want to block the UVB radiation that's going to come in. That is going to come in. It's going to allow your body to transform the sun into the form of vitamin D that your body needs for this precious metabolism. Let's talk about some, getting these enriched foods that have vitamin D in them as well, right? We talked about mushrooms that they have vitamin D. They tend to capture the vitamin D from the sun, and they're housed inside of the mushrooms. I actually had some mushrooms on my dinner plate last night from trying to like harness this vitamin D into like this incredible dish that I made with like a cashew sauce. And so I'm always trying to work on some recipes to kind of, increase like the excitement of the things that you eat. And I think you guys will love this one. It's also in fortified milks, like plant milks are fortified. Actually, dairy milks are fortified with vitamin D as well. They don't naturally come with it. They actually get fortified. So they will be fortified in plant-based milks as well. And then it's also in salmon that you can find it. But if you can, if it's you having difficulty, which I find that many people have difficulty when I test them, that most people have a low vitamin D. And so I will often offer supplementation of vitamin D. And I like to target my vitamin D levels to be somewhere around 60, 80 to 80. And it's like a narrow therapeutic window that I want it to be in to maximize the effect that the vitamin D has on so many of your systems, on your sleep, on metabolism, so many things. This vitamin D is very vital, and certainly in your immunity, keeping your immune system strong as well. But the problem is that people take vitamin D without caution, but vitamin D can become toxic. So it should be measured and then treated based on the measurement that you have, and not just to take vitamin D just to be taking it. Okay. It's an important thing. And then breathing, like breathing for better oxygenation, like making sure that you actually get that breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Maybe you're going to do like a cyclic kind of breathing, or maybe you want to do alternating nasal passages kind of breathing. It is really up to you, but the point is to get the oxygen inside. So you might do box breathing, for instance, where we've kind of taught you that the other day, where you got one hand on your chest, one on your stomach, so that you can actually monitor how your breathing is actually going. And then when you get used to it, you don't have to put your hand on it, but you want to get used to it. So when we talk about box breathing, we're talking about literally making a box with your breath. So you breathe in for 4 seconds and hold, and go to the next part of your box and exhale, then hold, then it go another deep breath, another out part of the box in for 4 seconds, and then hold, and then out for 4 seconds. And you're just kind of creating a box. Think about creating every wall of a box, and it's a three-dimensional structure. So you just keep repeating it so that you can actually end up making yourself a box with your breathing. This thing actually reduces stress. But even more importantly, that breathing, getting in the oxygen, stabilizes glucose. The other thing that we do is exercise. This is what this kind of gives you like a double whammy, is when you a double, not whammy, but a doubles your efforts almost, because when you're exercising outside, right, there's more free oxygen outside than there is on the inside. So you get to maximize the mitochondrial function. And then you got not only that, you got the vitamin D from the sun as well as the oxygen, so that you're actually utilizing it. The other thing that is really happening in here is part of the way that you get to metabolize more glucose, is that your muscles like that glucose. Your liver, which is the reason that we are detoxifying the liver, we told you that the liver has over 500 different functions. Well, your liver is going to need to be able to make that glucose go inside of the muscles as you're working all of these things together on the outside. And even though you're like utilizing that energy while you're walking or running or exercising outside, it's replenished a lot more healthfully than when you do it on the inside, because all of those things work together to give you a more lasting effect than when you're doing it with stale air. The oxygen, the fresh air does a lot, and the sunshine, that vitamin D does a lot to improve your ability to metabolize that glucose, so that your body gets the energy that it needs and that it requires, right? So high blood sugar will trigger inflammation, right? And so we don't want our blood sugar levels to be high, because we want to decrease the level of inflammation in our body. Remember, we talked about most of the diseases that we are faced with these days is because of chronic inflammation, which is like this fire just kind of burning inside of you. So our goal is to make sure that we utilize the glucose by allowing our liver to actually produce enough to put into the bloodstream so that we can utilize that. And if we can get it out of the liver, right, then we are less likely to have that thing that we talked about called fatty liver disease. It is like a win-win all around. So let's kind of recap. Let's recap what we've been talking about. Okay. High blood sugar triggers inflammation. Then let's reflect on this, right? Let's rethink and revise kind of the way we've been doing things all of this time that really kind of, you know, kind of got us where we are. This extra little tire that I have around my waist, right? Like that was on me, right? I have to take the responsibility of it. But I'm going to talk about some simple action plans for you and some action plans for me that are really just very simple moves that we can make to metabolize our sugar a little bit better and get rid of like that extra little weight around the waist, right? Research shows that when you get about 20 minutes of sunlight daily, or if you need to get a supplement, sometimes like there are people who are in climates that don't have lots of sun, like they may be in Alaska or in Sweden where at certain times of the year they don't get much sun. That's a different. You might need to have some supplementation with vitamin D supplements. And even in the US or in other places where there is some, we just find that not that we are not getting enough vitamin D. So again, I'm always finding that vitamin D levels are low in many people, and so I have to supplement. But I tell them to get out in the sun at least 20 minutes, like like exposed skin, no sunblock on for about 20 minutes, and then you can put your sunblock on, but just get a little, like 15 to 20 minutes every day. I also talk about breathing, taking these deep breaths in so you can oxygenate your cells so that your mitochondria works a lot better. And then the nutrient aspect is to eat whole, plant-based, rich nutrient dense foods so that your mitochondria can develop the health that it needs. And we cannot forget about these techniques and these tools that we talked about when we talk about eating the healthful way, exercising, with sleeping, and like thinking like the way you think, like to think positively, like have you ever been around somebody and like they are so negative, everything that you say, they have something negative to say about it, like that is so draining. You'll notice that if you're around a person that's negative, they tend to steal your energy. And so you're like, let's kind of not do that. Let's think positively. Let's kind of get in a way that maybe sometimes we might have to encourage ourselves, but that's important. Thinking positively and then just simplifying things for yourself. It's really important. Resistance training is also one of the things that we recommend along with some of the others, and we teach you how to do that so you don't feel like you're just out there on your own. This we do know though that resistance training can actually supercharge your insulin function, which is spectacular. Walking Walking kind of instantly reduces blood sugar spikes. Sometimes I'll have my clients or my patients like take a walk when they start noticing their blood sugar is going. We talk about a digestive walk, and that digestive walk is about maybe 15 minutes. Like you want to do it within 10 to 15 minutes after you finish eating. Go take a walk and allow the glucose that you've consumed to go inside of the muscle so that you can decrease some of those sugar spikes. It gives you much better control over your blood glucose levels. And then the timing of the nutrients really matters so that you can maximize glucose absorption, like you can maximize when that is taken into the body so that the muscles get what they need at the right times when they need it. So, we have talked about giving you the keys to unlock your body's full potential to maximize your energy production, lower your insulin resistance, increase insulin sensitivity, lower even the weight around you, decrease stress, showed you how to breathe, all of those different things. But you know what's interesting? Knowledge by itself won't do anything to reverse type 2 diabetes. It's really the action that does that. So, our expert coaches are here in our program to guide you every step of the way, ensuring that you master these very, very powerful techniques and that you get the results that you're looking for. So, don't do it alone. You join our program, join our program today and really start taking control of your life. It will make all the difference. Vitamin D and oxygen are essential for blood sugar control and your energy production. You have the power to improve your health with really very small daily changes. The research shows that you can actually reverse type 2 diabetes in 6 months following some simple techniques, lifestyle changes. But with our program, we are able to decrease the amount of time to reverse type 2 diabetes from 6 months to actually 3 months because that's what we do in our program. So we schedule a session, and we might need to like a do a consultation with you to kind of develop the plan and make sure we get you on the right track. So when you join our program, you'll see just how well that works in our effort to stop diabetes. Diabetes does not have to be a life sentence as we once thought it was. It is completely reversible. And we talked about beta cells recovering when we talked a couple of days ago. So remember that our goal is to get those cells to wake up and to get those ones that are not asleep to stay awake so that they can continue to produce the insulin that our body needs to be able to produce the energy that our body needs. Because without the insulin, the glucose will never get inside. So we need that to happen. So, what have we learned today? We have learned the connection between vitamin D and insulin resistance and inflammation and immunity. We've learned about how oxygen impacts metabolism and how the glucose is used. We've talked about practical ways to improve your glucose both uptake both through like sunlight and breathing, and then we added in supplementation as necessary when supplementation is needed. And we've also given you some actionable items that you can do yourself to get you on the right road to get that glucose taken up, and so that it's not in your bloodstream causing incredible havoc. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you have found this helpful, I want you to comment there that you found it helpful. I want to make sure you share it and you subscribe for more tips on reversing type 2 diabetes. I also want to remind you that our book is available on Amazon, the Reverse It book and the Success Journal, which are the exact tools that our body needs to reverse type 2 diabetes to get you on the road. We also talked about our course. We have a part one of our course, which is a 7-module course on becoming undiabetic. It is an absolutely spectacular course to put you on the accelerated healing journey from where you were to where you want to be. And then part two of our course is how to remain undiabetic. And that is how to keep those blood sugars under control. And really, the goal is to never have to see it again. We have our Reverse It cookbook that comes along with several videos so that you can actually look at the recipe and then you can actually look at how it's done, the teaching of the techniques to saute without oil and how to cook food and to build flavor in food, how to season things. All of those things are a part of this particular part of our program where we can invite you into learning some culinary skills that you may have thought were dormant or that you didn't know could even happen before. So when you join our health optimization program, it's a different part of it. In our health optimization program, that is our membership program where you can actually get tips, tools, newsletters, environmental and restaurant hacks and how to make sure your products are working for you instead of against you, what foods to consume, which foods to stay out of the way, how to read labels. I mean, all kinds of things are in this membership program to help you become undiabetic and to stay that way. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you because we are on a journey to stop type 2 diabetes. So, if this content has been helpful for you, remember to give it a thumbs up, to like it, comment on it, subscribe to it, make sure your notification bell is on so that every time a video goes up, even after we do this series, that you are notified and that you are able to just hop in there with us to get this good, yummy information, this rich information to reverse type 2 diabetes. Remember, our book is available on Amazon along with a success journal. And because this is like the time to get your immune system boosted up, you find like you got like that tickle in the back of your throat, or you got a little sneeze going on back in here where you might have been around somebody that's like, what are you doing, coughing and hacking and stuff? Ooh, can you please not do that on me? Let's build the immune system. I take like a pack when I get on a flight, or if I'm going to be in a crowded area, I'm going to take a pack for protection. One pack for protection. And then if you actually have an infection, then you want to take the entire, there's 6 doses per pack. So you want to take the entire thing to make sure that you give your immune system like this powerful boost that it needs. So again, I appreciate your time, your attention, and I absolutely love bringing this information to you. And I know it has been super helpful for you, and I am super excited that it has been. Remember that health is the new currency and you're spending yours wisely. So I will see you again tomorrow at the same station, on the same station, at the same time with a different link. I'll see you then. Take care. Bye bye.